So today we are trying the Cha Shan. Ooh, that's gonna be nice. Ooh, smells nice. The Cha Shan is actually my original Mao Feng farmer, so I've been with him the longest time. And he's a really nice guy. He's like the type of guy that you want to buy tea from. Where like he raises chickens, he has this beautiful field, he has his own farm. Like he's like a real, very much of the land, not super of the land, but good guy, nice guy, really nice guy. I always feel bad when I tell him I can't come visit, but yeah, I will. The Cha Shan is good this year. All the teas are good this year. I feel like the Cha Shan though is getting the kind of the least attention. That's partially my fault. Sorry. Give me a second to wake up here. I think the Cha Shan is getting the least attention because I was waiting for all the pickings to come in. And I do need to get my butt in order and do a tasting of all the pickings. Took him in his truck and gone fishing. That's very fun. I'm glad that did show up. That really, I'm sorry that took so long. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but on the same time, that just kind of happens sometimes. And just randomly, like for no reason. So, okay. So we're checking the Cha Shan fourth pick. Let's talk about some stuff here. So the fourth pick, I really should do a tasting. My next one's going to be a side-by-side tasting. The fourth pick is, I'm going to show a picture of my palm. Hello, close up of my face. So the fourth pick is when we're starting to get leafy. This is when that like, there is still a bud in there and it's still pretty small. Oh, that's a good photo. There's still a bud in there. Let's see if I can show one for Instagram, for YouTube. Yeah, YouTube, can you see? A little bit. You get the general idea. There's still a bud in there, and it is small, but you can tell by the shape, now we're starting to get into the times, now we're starting to get into rolling. Generally farmers, this farmer, and a good, I haven't really been to enough farmers to say generally quite yet, but it is common, I'll say, for the earlier picks not to be rolled, but the later picks to get that rolling. The reason being the earlier picks don't really need it. Rolling brings out oils, brings out all these flavors, but the earlier picks don't need that because they're just so flavorful and complex as they are. But I think a little more importantly, the earlier picks can't take it. The earlier picks would just crush, they'll just get destroyed, which is what the farmer actually told me. And I remember he showed me where, I think the last time I was in his field, we were walking through his field and he's talking about it. And he picks off, I think it was right before the season. It was right before the season. So things were budding, but it wasn't quite big enough. So he picks off a bud in a leaf, like he picks off a picking, and he rolls it between his fingers. And he lets me smell. It's very fragrant, even just going like this, and it was a very clear difference. It was very noticeable. And it was a very, I was like, it was an instant like, oh, that's what this does. So here we have, and so yeah, the leaves are small, but they're thick and they're green and they're that rolled shape. So we're definitely getting toward that later side. It was asleep. That later side. And what I'm hoping, and so as Earlier teas are complex, light, fruity, or not fruity, flavorful, good mouthfeel. Later teas are bold, vegetal, a little bit bitter, strong. And as early season, it starts out here, and it's very complex, not that strong. And then as the season goes on, it becomes less complex and becomes less strong. But somewhere there's this. What I'm kind of looking for is what's the balance? Where's that point in the season where it's complex but also bold? Where is that nice? This might be that spot. This might be that spot actually. So we're gonna see, and I think that's a very, very good spot to be, especially people who are new to Mao Feng's. Checking some stuff here. I not on purpose, by accident before. That would be interesting, I think. I think I could see. I think it would be good. It'd be a good tea. I wouldn't be against it. Now I'm thinking about that actually, because you couldn't mix. I wouldn't want to mix teas that were too separate in pick time. Like I wouldn't want to mix. Let me pour this. I wouldn't want to mix, first pick with like fourth pick. But if you did like a fourth pick and a second pick, because you would still want balance. I should have smelled. I feel bad for not smelling the leaves. Okay. So this is definitely more on that vegetal side. It is light, it is bright, and this is the first steep. So other things might come out stronger in the next steep, but right off the bat, the vegetalness is bold. It's a thicker vegetalness. It's bold, but once again, balanced. And there's the interesting thing to it, where it's like when you first taste the tea in the front of the mouth, savory, mouth-fung, soft, bright. Hold on, I need to try one thing. Okay, there's nobody here. That's why. So I'm also on YouTube Live, and I'm still getting used to it. So in the front, it's soft, it's savory, and then as it goes to the back, it's like a vegetal finish. That's a good way to put it. This one has a vegetal finish. Actually, that was quite nice. As it cooled down a little bit, the vegetalness calmed down a little bit. Hello, hello, hello. I think mixing is really cool. I do think mixing is really cool. On my shelf behind me, I at one point tried to keep. One day I want to mix Huang Shan. So I've done a Huang Shan blending before, and that was a lot of fun. Mixing first flush Darjeeling and Ogre, that does actually sound nice. Because from my limited experience with first flush Darjeelings, they do have the boldness is similar to like the bold floralness, I'll say, which is an interesting thing, is similar to Earl Grey in that like it's bold but it's soft. It's a very first flush Darjeelings are very, very interesting. Okay, speaking of first flush, I do want to go somewhere with this. Every now and then, I'll be talking to someone about Chinese teas and tea seasons, and they're from a tea company. And one of the, this happens sometimes. So yesterday I packed up some orders, and I just looked to my left, and there's a bag of 100% handmade, which now makes me think it did not get into the. I gotta check, but now I'm a little worried it did not get into the box. Oh crap! I gotta check that. Anyway, whenever I'm talking to a company, I'll be talking to someone from a company, we're talking Mao Feng's. It's our first time talking about it. If I ever hear anyone, and once again, I'm a little judgmental. I'm very judgmental, but it's part of what makes me good at tea. If I ever hear someone use first flush for Chinese teas, I'm like, oh, okay. First flush is totally random. First flush for Chinese teas, it doesn't quite fit. It doesn't quite fit the same. That's all I'm going to say. Don't use first flush to talk about Chinese teas. Whenever I hear someone talk about first flush in Chinese teas, it tells me that they don't quite understand. People are dropping off. Internet's not good. And it's a little tricky because I know it's a very common word in the forums and stuff. So I know a lot of people using first flush so that people understand. But first pick, first cycle, yeah. Ian. Wonderful, wunderbar. Here we go, second steep. So this one, the Cha Shan 3 is definitely vegetal, but a balanced vegetal. And, it's right over that line of the vegetalness coming out. First cycle is actually something my friend Aaron, who his dad makes bilo chun, and he's on Instagram. I've talked about him a few times. He's the one I heard cycle from. And I thought that was a very, very interesting way to put it. And because I gotta read his messages again, because it was like super insightful, but a little like, basically he used cycle because what he was talking about is the reason I lean away from flush is that if I'm understanding flush correctly, flush has this idea of everything being picked at the same time. The whole bushes, everything. If you have a whole tea field, everything comes out and then second flush. The problem with Chinese teas, and I say problem because it can be a pain in the butt, is that when you have a big plot of land, if you're talking about real like natural gardens and not older varietals, if you have a big plot of land, they actually don't all pick. They don't all pick on the same day. Like I also got to post out the numbers. So this is this tea farmer, the Cha Shan farmer, Mr. Shu. He sent me a list of each. He sent me a list about each pick time, each 1, 2, 3, 5, and the pick days. And what it was is he was like, okay, pick 1 is day 1 to 2, pick 2 is day 4 to 6, and he gave me a time frame. Because if you have a big plot of land, these bushes are going to pick on day 1, but these bushes are going to pick on day 2. Just because these bushes are ready doesn't mean these are ready. And these don't produce enough for a full pound. And so, and it was I think it was last year. My friend Aaron, who his dad makes bilo chun, he was explaining to me that it was a rough season because the cycles were going very fast. I think that's what it was. Where they were so usually if the best case scenario is everything comes up at the same time. But usually what happens is this comes up on day 1, you pick it. This comes up on day 2, you pick it, and then like maybe day 3 they both kind of come up, or maybe day 4 they both kind of come up. Because it's not like you pick this one today and it's ready tomorrow. It might take a day or 2 to come back, and so that's this idea of a cycle. The cycle is, if I'm remembering correctly, is you pick it, and then that's the first cycle, and then when it grows back and you pick it again, that's the second cycle. A cycle is every time you pick the bush. But what he said was happening, because the other thing you have to understand is these tea, farmers don't have big plots of tea, they have small plots of tea, and the plots are not next to each other. They can be broken up, and this was on purpose. If you had a famous mountain, so basically when the Chinese government gave the fields back to the farmers after they had, out from state control to private enterprise, if you had, let's say, a famous mountain like Dongting, a household might get plots at the bottom of the mountain and then plots at the top of the mountain, and then a plots on the other side of the mountain, but like halfway, which I assume was to be fair, and so that they could grow different things. What this means is that when you're picking, you can't just pick all at one time. This gets picked over here, and so what I think happened with bilo chun, which made it hard this one year, was okay. This one came up. The cycles were very fast. This one got picked, so this one came up and got picked, and then the next day this one came up and got picked. But then very quickly this one was ready, and so they had to go back very quickly and pick this. But then by the time that was done, this one was ready and had actually gotten like a little too big, or like this one up here had gotten too big. They had trouble getting that right. They had trouble getting that right pick time for everything because the cycles were coming too fast. Where before you had maybe 3 days between a cycle. So when this one got picked, you had 3 days to go over here, pick this one, and go over here, pick this one. So that if this one comes up on day 1, you pick it, and then you had 3 days for this one to come up and pick it, and this one to come up and pick it before you had to go back here. But when the cycles are fast, this one comes up, you pick it. Because remember, a lot of times we're talking small households, a lot of them don't hire people. The Cha Shan farmer doesn't hire anybody. Most small, like household people won't hire workers. You hire workers when you have more developed land. Like Anxi people hire workers because they have boom, 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 boom. They have tea trees. Fuding people might hire workers. Oolong peoples will hire workers because then making is a whole other thing. But for green tea, that's a good point. As compared to oolong, where the oolong making can take like a whole day, so you can't really be 2 places at once because you have to shake it and wither it and kill the green and roast it. You have to do all this stuff. Green tea, you pick the tea at night, and you pick the tea in the day, and then you cha ching it. You cook it at night, so you can do both. So you don't get you rarely get hired pickers for green tea. It's just a cost. And so it has to be you who is jumping from field to field. It has to be you it doesn't have to, but it's you who is picking the tea down here and then going up here the next day and then going up here the next day and then coming back down here the following day. And so if you pick this one and you pick this one and the next day you go up here and this one, the cycle is quick and this one comes back, And then you go up here, and this one's getting a little bigger. By the time you got back down here, you've kind of missed that optimal size. And this is a hypothetical story, but this is from my understanding. I generalized a few things, but this is what happened with beetle chun, my friend's beetle chun 2 years ago, I think. But that also gives you an understanding of pick times, of what Chinese pickings, Chinese tea picking, especially when we're talking about houses who do hand picking and household teas, which is why I don't love the use of the word flush when I'm talking about Chinese teas, because I think it oversimplifies Chinese pickings, and in a bad way, and in a way that can only really lead to you getting lower quality tea. Like if you have these 3 different pickings, but you just clump them together in first flush, you may that might lead to first pickings and second pickings and third pickings even being put together. And but it includes first pickings, so it's first flush. But I also understand that I'm actually going to switch teas. We're going to the second. I also understand that when you, hello, Oolong Drunk. Hello. I just finished a little semi-rant about the use of the term first flush for Chinese teas, which I don't really love, because I think it leads people to misunderstand Chinese tea pickings. But I also understand that I only do Chinese teas, so I can think about it like this. But for people who drink Chinese and Indians and Japanese, it's just a simple. It gives them a little more reference point. It's easier to think about it like that. And so I don't mind this drinker that calls Chinese teas first flush. But if I ever see a seller, I see a Chinese tea seller, and he uses the term first flush, then I'm a little worried. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, yeah. I kind of wish you had hopped on like 5 minutes before. I think you really could have added stuff and would have enjoyed that. It is on YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube. I do suggest checking out. So, the tea I just drank is not the third picking, which makes a lot of sense. It is the 4th picking. 4 out of 5. It is the second to last picking. And it was funny because as I was drinking that tea, I was like, this seems like, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a later pick. And in my head, I'm like, this seems too late. This seems like, for what the third picking should be, it seems a little back. And now I realize it's the 4th picking. It's the 5th picking. And I'll explain why I made this mistake. You have to, it's a Chinese language thing. So, on the bags, so for you, those of you who don't know, I bought 1 pound of all 6 pickings from the Cha Shan farmer, with the idea that soon I'm going to offer all 6 pounds to a sample of each one. You can do a crazy tasting. I have to figure out packaging and stuff. It's coming this week. But when you mark the tea, you see, it's hard to see, you have sun, those 3 lines, boom, 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 that's Chinese for 3. It's easy. Sun, and that's, you can't really see, but that's Ji. Sun Ji. So Sun Ji, Ji is grade. It can also mean like Shui Ji, that's not correct, but that's like even grade in school, grade is Ji. So here we have Sun Ji. Soon. So here we have Sun Ji, and then my tone Sun Ji. And And so you look at it, you're like, great, third picking, not third picking. And this is what always confuses me, because then we have sun. So first of all, the first picking is called kaito, which means like starting head, starting pick. So we have kaito, and then we have turji. And turji, it means like special grade, like, special grade. So we have kaito, first picking, turji, and then iji, sanji, urji, sanji. And so and I've done this a few times, I actually packed up a sampler and then realized I made this mistake. So when you do sanji, it's not when I look at sanji, I need to remember it's not the third picking, because you have sanji, oji, iji, but then you have turji, kaito. And I've made that mistake so many times. I always have to add to whatever's on the bag. So we're gonna try this again, and we're gonna try what's really the fourth pick. Yeah, we're gonna try the fourth pick. Okay. So now, and this is the shape I was expecting. Let's do this. Now we're in. Now we're in this. Hold on, I'm gonna do a little swappy. That's the shape I was expecting. There it is. And hold on, I'm gonna switch a little bit. Sorry, I'm gonna have a bad camera angle for a minute. You're gonna look at my face for a minute, so I can do a little side-by-side comparison of, yeah. You might have just looked at the wall. So here's the side-by-side. The one at the bottom is the fourth picking. The one at the top is the second picking. No, damn it, I did it again. The one at the top is the fifth picking. The one at the bottom is the fifth picking. The one at the top is the fourth picking. And you can see the difference. You can just see how this one is so much leafier, so much greener. This one is lighter, has more buds, but I always do it. But one thing you gotta look at the shape too. Here we have this kind of very rough rolled shape, while here we have a little bit more of that natural shape. And you can see this is where he started doing that rolling technique. Dog's gonna go poop. And this is where he just used the normal technique. That's for the YouTubers. So here we have this is what it should look like. We have the third steep. Move that so everyone can see. A bud, a leaf. Yeah, that's good. That's what I wanted. Yeah, so I guess that'd be a good point. Color, texture, just shape. You can just tell that the I did it again. You can tell that the fifth steep, something was different. You can just tell, like, I think the third steep, God fucking damn it, I did it again. The fourth steep, the fourth pick, there it is, the fourth pick, you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's Mao Feng. The fifth pick, if I just posted that onto the internet and I was like, hey, what tea is this? I would be very surprised if someone knew it was Mao Feng. Even if I showed a comparison with Mao Feng. If I was like, hey, here's Mao Feng, what's this? I don't think they would recognize it as Mao Feng. Bye-bye, Haiti. Hopefully it's your monkey. Hope your monkey comes. I'm gonna let that water cool for a second. In the meantime, I I want to make sure my enable live chat. Okay. All right, good. So I now also do lives on YouTube, so that people can watch them later. And someone mentioned that they like the YouTube lives because they can put it on the background. Ooh, that's hot. I really wish I hadn't done this actually. I wish I had cooled the water first. As this cools, Hokwe. The farmer sent me the next picking of Hokwe, but it got routed up to Hefei by accident, which is northern Anhui, and I'm in southern. Yeah. Somehow he sent the Hokwe to me, which I'm like 2 hours away, not even 2 hours away from Taiping. And he sent it to me, and somehow it went up to Hefei instead of coming down. Or not, just coming over. I don't know what happened. But so he sent it again. And yeah, so that's going to be a Monday tasting probably. The new Hokwe. I talked to my friend about the Mao Feng we tasted in the last one, the light but affordable Mao Feng, and she and it's funny because she knew the same. She thought the same thing I did, where basically we agreed that it is a good Mao Feng for the price, because it is a good price for what it is. And so we were like, yeah, if it was an expensive Mao Feng, if it was like, if it was an expensive Mao Feng, it wouldn't be worth it. But for the price, it's very good. It's very hot. And I'm worried. I don't want to oversteep. Probably going to end up oversteeping this, but jumping. This is what I'm liking. This smells like more of that balance. This is the one I'm liking. You feeling a little nippy? Clean this up. Yeah, so expect, eventually I'm going to do, soon, my goal is soon to do comparative videos between the different Mao Fengs, really get in there, get geeky. I got to do a little bit of thinking about packaging. I have an idea for packaging. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. It's been a while since I had a good, maybe I should order some Taiwanese teas. It's been a while since I had a good Taiwanese tea. It's been a very long time. Maybe I should order some Taiwanese teas. I think if I do order Taiwanese teas, I'm going to go to Tea Mountain Spring, Tea Spring, Tea something. I feel like he's going to have good teas. He's the guy who's been living in Taiwan for a long time and always doing tours. But then recently, what are you doing? Okay. Oh, you want the box? Okay, you can have the box. Where did you get yours from? The other thing I would like, and this is something, I want a good matcha connect. And I would think, being in China, so close to Japan, I'd be able to get some, but I don't. What's some good matcha? All right, here we go. There's the balance. That's the balance. That's what it is. That's it. That's that balance of there's savoriness, there's a touch of complexity. Not as complex as the earlier picks, and definitely not as bright, not as lively, but a little more bold, a little more flavorful. Oh wow. Yeah, wow, yeah. I was gonna say because Da Yuling is that's a name. That's a name drop there. I don't know much about Taiwanese teas, but I do know that's a name drop. That is impressive, actually. I mean, I don't think I've had a good Taiwanese tea. God, I don't think I've had a good Taiwanese tea since I worked at Huang Shan's. Yeah, because Huang Shan's, oh God, working at Huang Shan's was cool because we got to taste the samples. Okay, this is actually an interesting thing. A little bit of insight about Huang Shan's. Huang Shan's. So I worked at Huang Shan's in the Soho location, and I worked there for about a year or two. And I remember the drop. I remember the amount of Taiwanese teas I had when I started there, and I remember it slowly going down as I worked there. You know, the selection dropped, and I remember talking to Emmerich, who is Emmerich Horney, part of the family. He was nice. He was the manager for the whole location, and he was just like, and we first of all, I remember getting all these samples. We were trying all these samples of Taiwanese teas, and they were good, but I guess Huang Shan's had a good understanding of their market. You know, they're a very, very good company, business-wise and people-wise. Nothing but good things to say about them. But so I remember trying Taiwanese teas that they were like, yeah, price-wise, this won't move as much. But I also remember the Taiwanese teas at the time, they weren't getting as much, they weren't selling as much. And that's why, like, when I started, there was like 6 Taiwanese teas, but then by I left, there was like 2 or 3. And Emmerich, I remember, was just like, I want to, I love them, but people aren't buying them. People, you know, I think at the time the market was going more toward flavors and more toward the bigger Chinese teas. Yeah, that's really awesome. Da Yuling, that's really cool. You got into tea in high school, so I'm sure. Where did you? Because I know you've moved around. Where did you go to high school? What country? Have you found, like, would you say there's do you notice a difference in, as I said, do you notice a difference in the tea market? You know, I'm curious, what kind of changes in the tea market have you seen? Yeah. I mean, it's interesting being in China and watching their wine, California, okay. Watching their wine market and just seeing the similarities. You know, Wine is increasing in China, definitely, as is coffee and as is a lot of different things. Um, and but the wine, a lot of it is uh, what my grandmother referred to, well, my family referred to as, and my grandmother loved, the pink shit, the colorful shit. You know, there's the pink shit. Um, uh, and and it's the pink shit or the colorful shit, and or very fruit forward, bold, basically juice wines. You know, they haven't really developed, and it's you know, once again, it's increasing. Um, but you go to someone's house and they have wine, even if it's from Italy, France. Expect bolder, fruitier, not so complex. I wonder what the Vietnamese market's like. Jesus Christ. And so I see, and that's how I kind of see and I see similarities between that and the American tea market. Or just anytime someone gets introduced to anything, especially a beverage, this is really good, by the way. You know, the bolder stuff is going to be the ones that sell first. Yeah, wow, the Vietnamese market actually. What kind of changes have you seen, do you think? So you see, compared to that last one, just completely different. Completely different. Much more buddy, much more even, lighter color. Savory, you know, I'm getting some of that bacon fat, pork fat. Somebody messaged me the other day and they were like, I didn't understand what you meant by pork fat. And then I tried your teas and I completely understand. I was like, yeah. You guys want to know what I mean by pork fat? Try basically any of the Mao Fengs. Mao Feng 1 through 4. You're going to get some pork fat. I'm going to make this the last steep. And it's the jump between that is an interesting thing. The domestic teas. That is a very interesting thing. What I mean, what are the domestic teas kind of looking like? They're more pu'er? Are they more green tea? I'm sure there's a lot of black teas. Where I want to see the American market go next, tea-wise, is I want to see the American market see tea as a little more, as not a coffee substitute. I think that's, you know, right now it's, oh, I don't drink coffee, I drink tea. That's the general feeling. I would like to see tea as a little more separate, and this is going to take development on. This would have to take teas leaving Chinese teas and teas becoming less niche. I'm sure the flowers are fantastic. Knowing the little bit that I know about Vietnamese climate and all that, I'm sure the flowers are fantastic. Yeah, many things to think about. All right, this is good. This is very good. Good to the point where I'm gonna move part of it. Max, if you're watching this, this is the one I'm sending you. Okay, I thought I lost the internet for a second. Oh, I died. My phone just died. Okay. Whoa. Thank God I'm on YouTube. Jesus Christ, that sucks. All right. This is good. This is good. This is good, and this is already half gone. Because I had someone who paid money in advance, and they were just like, "Hey, here's how much I want to give you. Give me what you can for this price. You know, I want this sort of flavor. Whatever picking's the best, send me that." And I was like, "Dope." And this is the one. This is the one. They wanted that balance. They wanted not too early, not too late. They wanted that balance. So I only have a pound of it. I'm probably going to send this guy about half a pound. I got to do a little bit of math. About half a pound sounds right. Yeah, so I got half a pound left. The Cha Shan 1 is super, super low. Definitely hop on the Cha Shan 1. The handmade Cha Shan is super, super low. Definitely hop on that. Hogu, we got some time on the Hogu. I got 2 pounds of the Hogu. So we got a little bit of time on the Hogu, but not too much time because it is the most popular. So that is going to, and I'm going to be drinking it soon. Yeah. So definitely check out the website. Jump on the Cha Shan. I might give the Cha Shan. I might even take the Cha Shan off by the ounce. That is definitely what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Cha Shan off by the ounce. It is only available in the sampler. You have like 24 hours to buy it in the sampler. You have till Monday. Monday is when I probably get organized. Tomorrow, actually. You have till tomorrow, because tomorrow is when we're going to get organized enough to to update the website. I'm going to have time tomorrow too. And I have to go to the bathroom. Hi. And so you have about 24 hours to get the Cha Shan by the ounce or by 50 grams. After that, it's only available in the tasting. And even that's not going to last very long. There's very, very little left. Yeah. But look out for more videos soon.